Forge Gang returns! Return of the hard man of the forge! Alright, so really I've kind of covered most of the things that I wanted to say. Yeah, so the interwar period is a period of mass popular appeal, hysteria, news hysteria, all sorts of different types of news articles and the like. Very interesting time, a very tumultuous period, to say the least. A lot of advances in the aeronautics industry, a lot of advances in feats and achievement of different feats in various fields and various stuff. The dark side is that there are still going to be wars, and there's going to be military strategic alliances that will build up. Let's go! Don't wake mommy up. Anyways, I just wanted to cover through this very tumultuous period of time that really set the standard for the rest of the 20th century. Now, in the Cold War, America was extremely anti-foreign and very much anti-foreign influence. That actually has its origins in the 1920s. It was revitalized in World War II in the Cold War period that followed in the wake of the Second World War. So I wanted to point out that America is extremely xenophobic and very nationalist. This idea that France, Britain, and America were not intolerant or xenophobic of different nationalities and races and people is a myth. White nationalism, white ethnocentrism was a very normal and very common thing until the Second World War. So, I think there's a very interesting quote by Charles Lindbergh. Charles Lindbergh in 1941 asserts that if America and the Western democracies get into the Second World War, the white race will lose its influence once and for all. It will be the war that will effectively destroy the effect of Western civilization and Western dominance. So that's a very interesting quote. Take it as you will. So I think it was a Hungarian that actually termed the Axis powers. It was a Hungarian nationalist that terminized the notion of the Axis powers. So the two alliances in the Second World War are actually a lot of the same as in the First World War. Because in reality, World War II is just the second front of the First World War. It just simply stopped for 20 years. Ferdinand Foch, a World War I French politician, said that the World War did not actually end. Merely there was 20 years of peace that was won, and then there's going to be an even bigger, worser, great war that will take place in the wake of the first. So everybody knew there was going to be another world war. It was not an inevitability, but it simply was something that just happened. That was going to happen. So in regards to the Axis powers, you have the Berlin and Rome Axis and a lot of different military treaties signed between Italy and Germany. The Japanese are kind of isolated in Asia, and they're looking for allies and for people to give them some inspiration. So what the Japanese do is they go and they join, or they try to build an Axis pact with Germany. So the result is that you have the Axis powers Germany, Italy, Japan, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Romania, Bulgaria, Norway, Spain, Thailand, the Reformed Republic of China, and just all of these different types of military pacts. Now, the Allies do not actually have a military alliance system. This is not like in the First World War with the Entente Cordiale. Instead, what happens is that the British and the French are very reluctant to go to war. The only people that would actually want to fight a war against Germany are the Poles. But the British and the French are very demoralized. France is going through an extreme moral dilemma with its society. French society breaks down between the far right and the far left. And there is a bunch of different cabinets that take power in France. There's 47 different cabinets that take over in the 20 years between the First and Second World War in Paris alone. So France is a very unstable, quite very weak, bewildering country. Belgium, the Netherlands, all of these countries are very disorientated and very weak. In the case of France and Belgium, they were not able to replenish the men that they lost in the First World War by the time that the Second World War comes around. So it's really something else. The British also are extremely reluctant to go into another world war. So why is it that in 1938 there is this extreme dilemma, you could say, yet all of this talk and all of this knowledge that there is going to be another world war? Why exactly did this happen? Because there was a lack of respite to actually fight against the fascist powers. The democratic countries were reluctant. Stewart Chamberlain was the utmost reluctant to try to get on the bad side of Germany. Even David Lloyd George, the Prime Minister of Britain in World War I, actually considered that it was a good thing that Germany was not paying the Treaty of Versailles any longer, and that Hitler was actually a good politician. The only real major politician or figure in Britain that would want to go to war with Germany is Winston Churchill and his supporters. All of the British prime ministers in the 30s do not want to start another war. All of the French presidents refused to start another war. So in 1938, there is the Munich Conference between the great powers, which include Stewart Chamberlain of Great Britain, Davalier of France, Mussolini of Italy, and Hitler of Germany. They come to a conclusion that Hitler can have the Sudetenland because it's mostly ethnic Germans, so long as he leaves alone the integrity of Czechoslovakia. So it is agreed at this conference that the Germans can rearm and be considered an equal power in Europe to that of the British and the French and the Italians, and can also have the Sudetenland. So the general idea is that by giving consent and seeking pacifism and non-aggression, this will stop and prevent another war from breaking out. And this is usually referred to as peace in our time. Winston Churchill, of course, is extremely reluctant and is very much against the Munich Conference. He sees it as the empowering of Hitler, and allowing him to virtually have his way. So, what is the end result of this? The end result is that the Germans go into Vienna and take over Austria. They remilitarize the Rhineland. They take the Sudetenland and the rest of Czechoslovakia. And then there is the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact that is signed in Moscow. Because of these diplomatic maneuvers, Germany and the Soviet Union have an alliance and spheres of influence in Eastern Europe. So the Soviet Union starts to invade Finland. It attacks Finland, and the result is the Winter War. In Poland, in September of 1939, there is some border clashes and incidents that take place. And finally, because the Poles kill ethnic Germans, and because the Polish military is directly engaging with different radio plants, the Germans react by attacking radio stations at Glarwitz, and this is the first battle of the Second World War. As a result of the Glarwitz incident, the German army mobilizes and invade Poland. The Polish War breaks out, and 2 days later, Great Britain and France declare war on Nazi Germany, or National Socialist Germany. And so this is the end of the interwar period. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, man. I hate that my freaking stream was interrupted. Nanobot, don't wake mommy up. Roman Malinovsky, let's go. First Last says, let's go. I am at work, so I can't respond to stuff real fast, but I'm listening. Well, thank you a lot, dude. I hope you really are enjoying this. I enjoy talking about this stuff. You ever listen to Hardcore History Warhammer? I'm familiar with the Armchair Historian and a bunch of other types of historians like that. But yes, I know who Hardcore History is. Does he have a Patreon? Does he have a Patreon account? It's a podcast. Oh, okay, I see. I enjoyed that a lot. You're welcome, bro. Thanks for the stream, brother. Yeah, you're very welcome. Hardcore History would be right up your alley. Look it up. I'll send you a link when I get home in a few hours. Thanks, bro. Alright, so I might talk a little bit about the geopolitics of the Third Reich and fascist Germany and militarist Japan, and then I'm going to go into the Second World War. And I'll see you there. Have a good one. Peace out, brothers. Forge Gang!